welcome back to Eat Sleep Boxing Repeats YouTube channel. We are here for another boxing betting tip show. It's Canelo Alvarez, Dimitri Bivol fight week. Delighted to be joined by Paul Kelly as always. Paul, how are you?
Yes, Eliot, all good. Thanks. Looking forward to another big fight this weekend.
Yeah, they keep coming. We've had Taylor Serrano, Valdez Stevenson, Fury White recently, and yeah, we go again with Canelo Bivol. We're just going to focus on the main event this week, and there's lots to talk about. Is how much of an underdog is Bivol? Who's going to win and how many knockdowns are there going to be? There's lots to discuss, and as we were saying off camera, one thing I'm looking forward to is whether you can bet on what weight Canelo is going to come at, which those odds will probably be released on Friday, I imagine. But is he going to come in at 170? Is he going to come in kind of close to the limit? We don't know. What do you think he might come in as, Paul?
Yeah, it's funny. We just before we started this, we quickly mentioned about his light heavyweight fight against Kovalev a few years back. And when neither of us knew exactly what he weighed in at, but it was 174, I think you said, I believe. I don't think that would be a good idea for Canelo to weigh that much. I think the way he took out the super middleweight division at 168, I don't imagine he was going into those fights a huge lot heavier than that on fight night. So, 170, 171, I think would probably be the best weight, in my opinion, for Canelo, where he'll still be able to keep his speed, his footwork and everything, as well as his power against the taller man.
Yeah, good stuff. It's going to be, I feel like the way Canelo fights, he can't come in too heavy, and maybe because with the Kovalev fight, as we all know, the scorecards were very close at the time of the stoppage. Maybe he'll take some learnings from that light heavyweight experience and know that he shouldn't come in that heavy. That was what kind of interests me. And as we know, he's coming in against a more prime, better fighter in Dimitri Bivol. No one can deny that Bivol's a tougher test than Kovalev was a couple of years ago. So yeah, really interested to see what he looks like at the weigh-in, how he comes in. And yeah, we will get on to our betting tips. We'll go to you first. What is your first tip for us this week, Paul?
So my first tip, I'm still technically sitting on the fence here because I'm not going to select either fighter. But for me, I feel like the majority of people will disagree with me, but I don't think this fight will go the distance, one way or another. So, whatever you like, I suppose. People might think that Canelo will be able to break the bigger man in Bivol down like he did against Kovalev. I know Yildirim, but that's on a different level. But like even if you look at the last 10 Canelo opponents, they've all been bigger than him, and he's broken most of them down and stopped a good few of them. So people probably do think that it could happen again. But then you're also, we're talking about the whole weight and size factor there. Bivol's 4 or 5 inches taller. He's just, he's a natural light heavyweight. I know he's kind of gone the distance his last few fights, but he still has a decent knockout ratio. Earlier on in his career, I know Greg alluded to it. But yeah, and earlier on in his career, he kind of had that more killer instinct. So he does have it somewhere. So I think that the way you look at it is, I think either Canelo will win late, or I think Bivol could win mid to late rounds. I don't know why. I just can't see it going the distance. I just have a feeling that the judges won't be needed. So 7-4 for the fight not to go the distance is a good price for me, just short of 2-1.
7-4 for the fight not to go the distance. Okay, I like that. If you consider, Canelo over recent years, most of his fights haven't gone the distance, and yeah, like that. And yeah, I feel like we're going into the unknown also a little bit also, because although Canelo has fought at light heavyweight before, he's not fought an elite fighter at light heavyweight like Dimitri Bivol is. So yeah, really interesting bet there, mate. 7-4 for the fight not to go the distance. My response to that is that I think that this is Canelo's toughest test in recent years, if you consider everything. However, I don't see Bivol stopping Canelo. If you look at the fact that Bivol he's kind of gone from being a big puncher to not much of a puncher for whatever reason. If you look at his career so far, one of Canelo's best assets is his chin, I think. He's got a fantastic chin. So if Bivol's going to win this, I don't think it's going to be by stoppage. I think it would have to be by decision, and the odds that I'm seeing for that are 7-1. So pretty outstanding odds. If you've seen Bivol as a live opponent in this fight, like many people are, yeah, I can't see a stoppage win. So I'd have to go with Bivol on points. So 7-1. So not bad at all. Don't need to kind of tell people what that returns because it's pretty obvious. We're not doing accumulators this week. But yeah, 7-1 Bivol on points.
Yeah, I think it's. I'm kind of glad you mentioned that because it leads me on nicely to my second selection. But yeah, no, I completely hear what you're saying. I do understand that. But then if I was to counter argument that, I would say, we're going to have to bring up the elephant in the room. Would Bivol get a decision over Canelo even if he did win? So there's one of my counter arguments to that. And I think that Bivol's not stupid. He'll probably know that himself. It's the weekend after Cinco de Mayo and in Las Vegas. All things do point towards a Canelo win here. So I'm thinking, if I'm Dimitri Bivol, I'm saying to myself, yeah, I know I've been safe my last few fights and have won them by decision, but he's still, you're light heavyweight. He'll be coming in at 180 probably on fight night. He'll put a wee bit of weight on after the weigh-in, I imagine. He's got a big frame. He'll be like, you know what? I can stop him. Look, he's only 5'8". Of course I can stop someone who's 5'8". Despite it being, arguably the best pound for pound fighter in the world. But no, I think that the size, it really is, it's one of them where, I can kind of compare it to I'm kind of looking at it like the Lomachenko-Lopez fight, where people weren't really saying much about the size pre-fight. Then after, when Lopez did beat Lomachenko, it was all, oh, look at the size difference. Could something happen similarly here this weekend? I think it maybe could. So I think Bivol will need to knock out Canelo in one way, shape, or form. So yeah, because I don't think he's ever going to get the decision, even if it is a close fight, even if he's 8-4 up, even 9-3 up, it'll be given a draw or something, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go for Dimitri Bivol to land some huge shots, wobble Canelo, and the referee have to jump in and stop him because he's on shaky legs, and you can get a price of 8-1 for Bivol to win by knockout, TKO, or disqualification.
Nice, good stuff. That's better odds than I'm seeing. So yeah, not bad at all. I just think it all comes down to what your opinion is, because I think there are some people who can only see Canelo winning this fight, and I don't get how people are seeing that, because he's not facing. I understand he swept Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant, Callum Smith apart, but this is a different kettle of fish. This isn't another super middleweight, and this is someone with Bivol. He's not old. He's never been in a war. He's obviously going to be taking Canelo seriously. So this idea that Canelo is just going to kind of not lose a round or knock him out early, I can't really get to grips with. But anyway, this is a boxing betting tip show, so that's time for another video. I've not really got another betting tip, Paul. I think one thing I'm going to put on you now is I want to ask a bit of a tricky question. How many knockdowns do you think there would be in this fight? If you get this wrong, I'm not going to hold you to it, because it's like asking someone to predict what a football score is going to be almost. But I'm just looking at the odds now, and how many? What are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest with you, I can't see Canelo knocking down Bivol at all. And I could maybe see one knockdown. If the fight plays out how I in my head imagine it to be, and Bivol does come forward and does perhaps land some big shots, maybe one knockdown in favor of Bivol.
Okay. So I'm seeing odds of 7-4 for one knockdown.
Is that for either man?
Yeah, just total knockdowns exact. 0 is 6-4, and that's what I'm edging towards. I'm not convinced there'll be a knockdown. So 6-4, 0 knockdowns, 7-4, 1 knockdown, 7-2 is 2 knockdowns, and so on. But yeah, really, I think I'm going to put a little bit of bet on that, to be honest. I think we're going to put some money on 0 knockdowns at 6-4. I quite like doing that, and then it breaks my heart when someone gets knocked down in the first round, but usually how it goes. All right, Paul, final question from me. I know you weren't on the big fight breakdown video, so I really want to know what is your prediction for this fight. Break it down for me.
We're going to see an upset in 2022. Dimitri Bivol is going to beat Canelo in rounds 8 to 10.
Good. Okay. I admire that. I admire that. So I don't want to give the game away, but the preview that we did yesterday, there were two people who shared your opinion, although they weren't as specific as you. I think Alvarez will win on points. So I think it will be controversial.
Yeah,
I think
I can see it. No,
yeah,
100%.
Could win, but whether he wins is another question. That's what I'm going for. I'm going for goes the distance. Great fight. One or two knockdowns, possibly. Who knows? I've just contradicted myself, but I think close points and Canelo will get the victory. And who knows? There could be a rematch later this year. Cool.
I can't disagree.
That's our boxing betting tips / prediction / fight breakdowns show. It's a bit different this week, Paul, but it's a bit of a different fight. It's Canelo Alvarez, Dimitri Bivol this Saturday, Las Vegas. Really looking forward to it. Thanks so much for joining me, mate.
Cheers, Eliot. All the best.